Wednesday about 15 or 16. We'll start still with a fair bit of cloud across Scotland, particularly so in the west. Thick enough still for some showery rain at times here, particularly over the mountains. But some breaks to the east across Scotland, and the skies also showing signs of that cloud breaking up across Northern Ireland in the morning. Quite a bit of cloud to the west of the Pennines, again to the east and further south. Lots and lots of sunshine to come on Wednesday. Just the threat of a bit of mist at times along some of these eastern coasts. Through the day, not a great deal of change, but I think that cloud will break up more over Northern Ireland, western Scotland and northwest England to reveal some sunshine. Always the chance of 1 or 2 showers coming into the far northwest of Scotland. But otherwise, it's dry. And it's hot in the south, 31, 32, maybe 33 Celsius. And further north, that heat is pushing in. So a hotter day for the east of Northern Ireland, southern and eastern Scotland, getting into the low to mid-20s and high 20s over parts of northern England. So generally a hotter day across northern areas tomorrow. A balmy summer's evening for many. Wednesday evening stays clear. More sunshine to come. A bit more cloud at times still across Scotland, particularly into the weekend. But lots of sunshine, and it is going to be hot in the south, temperatures widely into the low 30s, perhaps dropping off a bit for Saturday.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. The M60 anti-clockwise is closed between junction 24 at and junction 23 near Stockport due to a collision. A collision is slowing traffic on the M6 southbound near Crewe. The M25 clockwise is affected by a collision near Waltham Abbey. In Scotland, the M8 eastbound has lane restrictions near junction 25 at by the Clyde Tunnel. Across Wales, the A5 is closed both directions between Capel Curig and Pontpenny Benglog. And on the trains, there is major disruption between Bournemouth and Brockenhurst affecting multiple routes. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
We're celebrating a golden summer with your chance to win a real gold bar. That's right, a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 could be yours. We're also going to make sure your finances are fabulous with £60,000 in tax-free cash. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, good evening. It's 6 o'clock. I'm Dawn Neeson in for Michelle Dewberry. Tonight on the show.
Today, I will resign as a Member of Parliament for Clacton-on-Sea, thereby forcing a by-election.
Well, there is obviously only one story in town. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has resigned as MP, triggering a by-election in Clacton.
This is a desperate stunt from Nigel Farage, and it's obvious why he's doing it. He is up to his neck in sleaze.
Sir Keir Starmer says this is a desperate stunt from Nigel Farage.
Who's he fighting? I mean, what I saw was a man who was cracking under the pressure. He went on telly having a hissy fit because for the first time, he is finally having to face some scrutiny.
Meanwhile, Kemi Bay not uses the phrase hissy fit. So we have a very slightly different show for you tonight. Obviously, rather than having several stories we're covering the one main story because so many of you are already getting in touch. And we also have a slightly different panel for you as well because we've got 3 people on the panel. We have got Reform UK member Sir Dewberry, Conservative MP Joy Morrissey and Lib Dem MP Steph Ackwarone. But first, it's time for the news headlines. See you soon.
Good evening. Your headlines at 6:01. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has announced he will quit as an MP for Clacton, triggering a by-election which he has vowed to fight in.
Today, I will resign as a Member of Parliament for Clacton-on-Sea, thereby forcing a by-election.
Mr Farage revealed the news during a statement about the future of his public life following scrutiny over financial support given to him. The Reform UK leader said he has not broken the law in any way at all, adding he had not misused public money. Meanwhile, both Restore Britain and the Conservatives have now confirmed they will not be standing candidates against him in the by-election. Prince Harry has lost his High Court privacy case against the Daily Mail. The Duke of Sussex and 6 other defendants, including Sir Elton John and Baroness Lawrence, had sued Associated Newspapers Limited for unlawful information gathering, but the High Court has today dismissed the claims. Associated Newspapers called it an overwhelming victory and a magnificent vindication of the Daily Mail's journalism. Moments later, Prince Harry, who is taking part in an Invictus Games Foundation conversation at Chatham House, gave a speech at the event, but he didn't mention the ruling. A murder investigation has been launched after a mother and her 2 children were found dead at a home in Bedfordshire. Police were called on Monday over concerns for 3 people who had not been seen for several days, and when officers forced entry into a property in Great Denham, they found the bodies of a woman and 2 children. Bedfordshire Police said they have identified a suspect who is known to all 3 victims and who they believe has now since left the country. Sir Keir Starmer told his Norwegian counterpart England only win the World Cup under Labour governments ahead of their country's quarter-final clash. The Prime Minister joined Jonas Gahr Store in the gardens of the British ambassador's residence in Ankara following a meeting at the annual NATO summit. The 2 men both wore the football shirts of their respective countries during the meet. Elsewhere at the summit, US President Donald Trump has renewed his calls for the US to take control of Greenland and warned he could pull all American troops out of Europe as he arrived for the meeting of NATO leaders. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's back to Dawn.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Thank you very much, Sophia, and thank you so much for your company tonight. We have got a very important show for you. Obviously, there's only one story in town. I am Dawn Neeson, obviously looking after the show for Michelle today. Joining me on the panel is Reform UK member Sir Dewberry, Conservative MP Joy Morrissey and Lib Dem MP Steph Ackwarone. Thank you all so much for joining me. But the most important people on the show are, as always, you and your views. So please do get them coming in. GBNews gbnews.com/yoursay. I will read as many out as I possibly can. And no, Del, thank you very much for getting in touch. We are not in for an hour of Farage bashing. We are here to give everybody a voice. Everybody can have their opinion on this one. We have got every political party covered, but more importantly, Del and everybody else, we want your opinion as well. So stand by your beds, folks. This one is going to be a cracking show. Now, just in case you've been living under a rock all afternoon, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has announced that he will resign as a Member of Parliament for Clacton, triggering a by-election that he will stand in. Let's have a listen to what he said.
I've thought about it hard, and I've decided today I will resign as a Member of Parliament for Clacton-on-Sea, thereby forcing a by-election, which should happen, I hope, in short order. No, I've decided that the people of Clacton should be the judges of my actions. This will be a people versus the establishment by-election. It's a chance to stick two fingers up to the entire establishment, to frankly tell them where to go. And that is why I will be putting my name forward to stand in this by-election. I will fight to win. I will fight to continue the political revolution that Reform has started. And I would say this to you, the voters of Clacton: if I win, you win. Because if I lose, they win, and we will never, with the two old parties, get the type of fundamental change that we need to fix broken Britain.
Well, that was earlier on today, the breaking news. Now, Liam says, no, Dawn, GB News doesn't want our opinions. Yes, Liam, I do want your opinion, so you can get another comment coming in. I'll read that one out as well. Now, GB News political editor Christopher Hope joins us now to bring us up to date, because this story is changing literally by the minute. Christopher, what's the latest?
Been, I think, 4 hours since this broke, with Nigel Farage making that statement saying he's resigning as MP for Clacton. Now, here's what's happening. He's resigning. Reform UK have now written to the Treasury, the Rachel Reeves. She controls the timing of by-elections. They say they want to move the writ for the by-election in Clacton tomorrow. They want the by-election to take place in the first or second week of August. Nigel Farage is trying to lay down the gauntlet to his rivals. People don't like him, he says, in the establishment parties. He's saying, fight me on my turf, I will take any of you on and I will beat them. The problem is, it seems that most of the other parties are turning away and not wanting to fight him. In the past few moments, Kevin Badenoch, the Tory leader, has made very clear her position. Let's have a listen to what she's been saying.
We will be standing a candidate in the real by-election, which will follow the standards investigation. We're not standing a candidate in the fake by-election, which Nigel Farage is causing to distract people from what is happening. We need to let that investigation run its course. And I think the reason why Nigel Farage is doing this is because he is very worried that he's going to be found to have done something wrong. The best thing for him to have done would have been to call a press conference and explain what he did with the money, apologise if needs be, and that would have been the end of it. Instead, he has been running away from scrutiny. He's not answering any questions. And what I'm saying is that no one is bigger than Parliament. We all have to do the right thing. We all have to register our interests. We, the Conservative Party, are very focused on uniting the country around sensible policies. There's a lot that people are unhappy about. We're going to focus on getting Britain working again and showing some common sense, not throwing random by-elections out because we're having a hissy fit.
OK, so the Tories, that's the main opposition party, they won't stand against Reform in the Clacton by-election. The Lib Dems, they say they won't stand if no one else stands in the Clacton by-election. We wait on what the Labour will do. Now, the language from Andy Burnham, who is the PM-to-be, I expect, a week on Monday, he's called a gimmick. Now, the fact he's calling it a gimmick suggests to me that he also won't want to fight that by-election. Of course, Keir Starmer is the current leader. He quits next week, and he has said, or used words to that effect. So it looks like all the main parties are not going to take part in this by-election, like in 2008 when David Davis stood down in a protest over the Big Brother policies of Labour government, and there was no one to fight him in that by-election, and it became a bit of an ego trip, frankly, for David Davis MP and Holton Price and Howden. This will be seen by as critics of Nigel Farage the same way. The only candidate we can see at the moment who will stand against Nigel Farage is Count Binface. So it could be Binface versus Farage in the Clacton by-election. Now, the embarrassment could be for Nigel Farage if he gets a lot of votes behind Count Binface, who's a novelty candidate, no actual proper party behind him. If he gets lots of votes in his favour against Nigel Farage, that might be embarrassing for Nigel Farage. The only alternative could be that there could be an anti-sleaze candidate standing in the same way that we saw Martin Bell, the former BBC journalist, stand in Tatton at the general election against Neil Hamilton. He stood on a ticket of anti-sleaze. That could happen again, and that could encourage others to vote and get behind that candidate and anyone but Farage candidate. But as things stand, it's Binface versus Farage. Why has this happened? Because Nigel Farage is very cross about scrutiny of his private life, people, journalists knocking on doors where his family are living. He's very cross. He wants it to stop. But the questions over the £5 million gift from Christopher Harborne, who's a crypto investor, they won't go away. And in fact, if he has quit Parliament, when he comes back, assuming he's returned as the MP, that investigation will start again, and Dawn, that could lead to another by-election down the road if MPs on Standards Committee and MPs vote for it and loses a referendum locally in his seat. So we could be facing 2 by-elections in Clacton in the next year or so.
Astonishing day in British politics. Christopher Hope, thank you so much for updating us on the story. Loads of you are getting in touch as well. Victoria says, I wish I could vote for Nigel. I might move to Clacton. And Christine, not that happy with Starmer and Badenoch, saying, shut up, both of you. And Peter says, God bless Nigel Farage, taking on the establishment. OK, they're the positive ones, Jake. Alternatively, Badenoch says that Farage is having a hissy fit. He is a sleazy grifter, according to the Green Party. According to Sir Ed Davey, he is self-obsessed. And Starmer says he's up to his neck in sleaze. Not exactly compliments flying in.
Well, no, but if they think that, why won't they stand? I mean, the truth is, the reason that people won't stand against Nigel Farage is because they know they're going to lose. And Kemi Badenoch claims to be a national political party, not standing. Same for the Labour Party, same for the Lib Dems, same for the Greens. They won't stand because they know they're going to lose. And can I just say, I've been knocking around politics for too long now. It is so refreshing to have someone who genuinely believes in democracy. By the way, we know the Labour Party and the Conservative Party like to run away from elections. They conspired to cancel elections for 5 million people last year and the year before. You know, these people, if they think those quotes that they've said and you've read out, that, you know, verbatim quotes them, are true, come and have a go. They're not going to, because they're going to lose, because Nigel Farage has shown that he's a man of courage, which is exactly what this country needs. OK,
Steph, you were chuckling there. You know, you are representing the Lib Dems here today. Your party is not standing anyone. Why not? You could win. You could prove Nigel Farage wrong.
Well, I don't want to break out into controversy, but I do want to agree with a couple of things that have been said. I do think Nigel Farage has got courage. I think he's been a disruptive force in British politics. I'm not sure actually whether he's got that much out of being in Westminster. I think he probably had more of an impact on British politics when he was not inside the House of Commons. But that's by the by. Your previous commentator said that we weren't going to fix anything under the current system, that we needed wholesale change. And I think that is a really, really important point to bear in mind here. I think there's lots wrong with the country, but I've got huge hope that things can improve. I just don't see how having a by-election at enormous cost, whoever it is funding it, whether it's the people that paid Farage to sponsor gold bullion or the Reform Party, of which many of your viewers will be members, I don't think that's going to help bring about the change this country needs. I think this is all about Nigel Farage. OK, Joy, your leader, says Nigel Farage is cracking under the pressure. He's having a hissy fit.
Yeah, I mean, Nigel Farage is grandstanding. He's doing what Andy Burnham did, wasting public money and time on a by-election for his ego, and now Nigel Farage is doing it too. And if the standards investigation comes through, we'll have another by-election, so it's a 2-for-1 deal.
But Nigel Farage has offered to pay for the Reform Party have offered to pay for the by-election. Therefore, it doesn't cost taxpayers any money at all.
But they're paying for a by-election when they're actually being investigated for taking money, fraudulent money. That seems even worse. I'm sorry. No, because they are investigating him for something that should be declared, that every MP has to declare. We all know that we have to declare gifts that were given, especially large amounts of money. We have to declare so that we can't be bought by foreign, governments or things like that. It's just part of being an MP. We all know that. There's nothing special about this. He has broken the rules, but we'll see what the investigation comes forward with.
First of all, the rules say, as Nigel set out today quite correctly, that if you accept gifts in a personal capacity, which he did, let's not forget when this money was paid to him, he wasn't even an MP or even standing for Parliament, that they are not declared. And Joy, by the way, I'm quite surprised to see you praying in aid the kangaroo court that killed off Boris Johnson. You and I know we were there.
But unlike you, I was one of the final 7 who stood for Boris Johnson, and you abandoned him, so there we are, just to be clear.
This is not...
And you joined another party, so,
This is not... this is not some high court.
So
of
if there's
justice.
anybody who's going to go to town about this system, it's me.
How many Reform MPs are on this panel?
How many?
Do you know?
Okay.
I'll tell you, I can count
now,
it on 2 fingers.
As someone who actually went through
Zero.
this more than anyone else in Parliament, who stood by and watched this happen and stood by Boris Johnson until the very end when no one else did, I don't think you have any room to comment either, because you abandoned him and you abandoned the party.
Yeah, well, I've never abandoned Boris, but you're...
Are you going to abandon this party now that we've...
You're now telling us that this panel, which you agree is an absolute shower and is a complete affront to both democracy and to natural justice, this panel should be the one who decides.
But
not
even,
both ways.
even
the panel's
Boris submitted to this panel. And even Boris submitted to parliamentary scrutiny. He didn't talk about it. We're not even supposed to be talking about it while the investigation is live. He actually followed the rules of the investigation, and that was the result. We are all under public scrutiny. If he wants to be prime minister, this is the cost. This is how much scrutiny anybody who wants to stand for public office, who wants to lead this country, is under in modern day politics. That's just how it is.
Well, I think Nigel would say that the people who should decide who their MP or not are the people of Clacton, and that's what he's been brave enough to trigger today.
We are going to talk to some people in Clacton today to hear what they think of this situation, because obviously you are a bit like Makerfield. You're the ones that's going to make a decision on this one. Steph, coming back to you on this one, Nigel Farage has denied doing anything wrong, and obviously we don't know the outcome of the committee yet, so that's going to be decided. That's put on hold now until he can become an MP again, and then we possibly have another one. Now, Nigel Farage has said that this is all a witch hunt. People are throwing mud at him because they are worried about how well Reform are doing. What would you say to that?
I think politics is a really tough job. And I think I can really empathise with parts of what he has said about the threats that he's under. I'm sure all of us who are elected have had threats. I've had people threatening to kill me. This is not acceptable. This can't go on.
You're the Lib Dem MP for Norfolk.
Yeah, I'm for Norfolk. I'm about as backbench as you can get without falling off.
You're sort of like not high profile like Nigel Farage.
I'm not. I'm absolutely not.
No offence meant by that one, but you've had death threats as well.
And I can absolutely relate to those aspects of what he has said has motivated him. Both to accept that money. I have to say, it is really, really clear. In the year before you are an MP, which I know you don't know about until you become an MP or otherwise, you are supposed to declare everything that isn't your main job income. So I think, I'm sure the Standards Commission will come to a conclusion. But those are the rules that are very clearly that I followed when I became an MP.
OK, I find it quite shocking that you've had death threats as well. Let's have a quick look to what Nigel actually had to say about the accusations and about any wrongdoing.
Let me be absolutely clear. I have done nothing wrong. I have not broken the law in any way at all. I have not misused public money.
OK, so denying anything wrong. Coming back to you, Jake, is this mudslinging? Are people so worried about Reform now that they are going to just constantly sling anything at you? Obviously, it does stick.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what the establishment is doing. And Nigel listed some of the things today. The Labour Party has altered the voting system to give votes for 16-year-olds because they think it hurts reform. Actually, funnily enough, one of the biggest areas of support for reform is from young people. It's altered the political funding rules in a very partisan way to stop reform's main donor giving money to them. They altered the voting system in the Manchester by-election because they thought they were going to lose it. They conspired with the Conservative Party, I'm sorry to say, to deny 5 million taxpayers a vote in May. The establishment, the mainstream media, the mainstream political parties are running away from Farage. They know they can't beat him at the ballot box. That's why they're not standing. And they want to beat him through lawfare, through trying to prosecute him, through smearing him. And let's not forget, what we're not talking about, which I think is really important, Nigel spoke about today, is everyone knew Nigel Farage was in America because he put it on the internet. He was there for the 250th anniversary. Why would Sky News go round to a house where they know his daughter lives, assuming that she would be on his own? They weren't there to talk to him. He was in the States. It was in the public domain. He has been treated disgracefully. The media is out to get him, and he's decided to meet them head on. He's not running away from the issue, he's running towards it, and he's saying, let the people of Clacton decide.
Joy, what do you make of that?
One thing I think is unacceptable is for people's private lives, politicians' private lives, their families, their children to be pulled into this. We have had death threats. I'm sure Jake has had that. Even our children have been targeted, and that is completely unacceptable when your child...
It applies to you as well.
It has applied, and it's why I didn't do any media for a very long time, because I didn't want my child and my family to be drug into the public like that. And it's extremely... It's terrifying because they're having to sacrifice themselves for something that you believe. So I'm 100% supportive of protecting the privacy of our families and giving additional security to MPs where it's needed. I think there isn't enough security for MPs. So those are things that I think most parties actually would agree with, because on a personal level, many of us have experienced those things. And so those are valid points. It's the wider side of why is he doing the by-election in the first place? Why not just if he's convinced he's innocent, just let the standards investigation take its course, and then that's fine.
You've been involved in it. You know, this could go on for years. That is their plan of this MP kangaroo court. Is that you saw with Boris? It went on for years.
But how does a double by-election solve that? What does that do?
To the maximum amount of damage. Nigel said, no, I'm not prepared for you to decide. It's ultimately up to the voters. He's put his case. The Conservative Party, if they don't believe him, could go and oppose him. They're not going to. The Liberals are making their mind up. Maybe they will.
Everybody's doing the by-election thing. Like, first we had Andy Burnham, and now we've got this. I mean, why is this such a trend this summer? What's going on? Why does it matter?
Wouldn't it be refreshing if all of those Labour MPs, a corruption minister who resigned for corruption, a housing minister who resigned because she didn't pay the right stamp duty, caused a by-election and let the public judge? That is the right thing.
Or a general election. We're going to leave it for...
Yeah, let's have a general election.
Don't go there.
There's not enough elections.
We are going to leave that for now, but we are coming back. Obviously, it's the main story, so please do keep your messages coming in. I will read as many out as I said. Now, we have some breaking news for you. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, and Baroness Dorian Lawrence, Stephen Lawrence's mum, have released a statement reacting to the High Court dismissing their lawsuit against Associated Newspapers. Their statement reads, "We came to court seeking justice and accountability, but we have received neither. Generic findings about various private investigators that were held by the courts in these parallel claims to have carried out unlawful activity at the very same time in relation to similar stories and well-known individuals have been wholly ignored. It is a complete and obvious whitewash, but sadly not altogether unexpected. However, the lengths to which the court has gone to exonerate the Mal is shocking, as it is totally unwarranted. We presented to the court evidence which we believed was compelling at the time and remains so now. We would like to thank our legal team for all their hard work and all the witnesses who were brave enough to come forward in the pursuit of justice." OK, now we're going back to the politics. Coming up next, we'll be hearing what Clacton think about Farage's announcement today. You don't want to miss it. See you soon.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday Five.
You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the
Unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Dewbs & Co with me, Dawn Neeson tonight. Keeping me company tonight, Reform UK member Sir Jake Berry, Conservative MP Joy Morrissey and Lib Dem MP Steph Aquarone. We have the full mix for you. Now, we have some breaking news to bring you. It's been a day of breaking news. This time, it's the Labour Party are not going to stand a candidate in the Clacton by-election. A Labour Party spokesperson has released a statement. Lots of statements today. Nigel Farage is engulfed in a sleaze scandal and he's desperately trying to change the subject. It's pathetic and the Labour Party is not going to indulge it. Labour's ruling body, the National Executive Committee, has decided not to stand a candidate in this circus. Instead, Labour will remain focused on delivering for working people and holding reform to account. Farage should let the parliamentary investigation into his finances run its course and face the consequences. Well, there you go. It is literally Nigel Farage and Count Binface. OK, now, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has indeed resigned. If you don't know that by now, where have you been? Triggering that by-election in Clacton. Nigel will stand in the by-election and says he will let Clacton decide. Now, where have we hit this before?
I've decided that the people of Clacton should be the judges of my actions. This will be a people versus the establishment by-election.
Yes, Lib Dem Ed Davey responded in the last hour, and he didn't mince his words either.
Well, Mr Farage has done nothing for his constituency in Clacton since getting elected 2 years ago, and all he's done is fill his own pockets. Now he's been found out for the grifter he is. He now wants to get the people of Clacton to help him out. I think they'll see through him.
OK, well, let's find out whether Clacton will see through him and whether, indeed, they think their former MP, soon-to-be MP again, or could that be Count Binface, who knows, is actually a grifter. What do they make of it? So let's go to a Clacton business owner, even, Jason Smedley. Jason, thank you so much for coming on and joining the show. Now, obviously, you don't speak for the whole of Clacton, but you are in Clacton, you run a business in Clacton. Nigel Farage was, up until lunchtime today, your local MP. What do you make of him? Are you a fan of Nigel Farage? Is he good for Clacton?
I think he's been great for Clacton, to be honest. We've had a lot of dealings. Literally in the first couple of days of Nigel entering Clacton, he came into me and asked me personally, how's business going? How are you guys doing? Which no one has ever asked me before, not bank managers or anything. He came in, he specifically wanted to know, how can we help you? How can we improve? What things have you got issues with? So straight I had a warming to him, thinking he's actually taken an interest for the first time in what is fundamentally the most important thing, which is business in the UK.
And what do you say to the people, the critics of Nigel Farage, who say, well, he's never there?
That's rubbish. I mean, I know because he's in the building very often. We've done a lot of work with him. I'm wearing a football top today because he's supporting a charity football match that we do in a couple of weeks' time, which he did last year. It helps about 10 businesses and also helps charities in the area as well. Over the holiday periods, we provide meals for the children that are underprivileged, and Nigel's had a massive hand in that, helping cook, providing stuff, taking the food to the actual places they need to go to. So I think you need to live in Clacton to actually live and breathe there. Obviously, he's running the whole party, so we know that it's a lot more difficult for him to be here. But every time he leaves here, it's like, I will be back very soon. Our team's here at the end of the phone. There's an enormous amount of work that the councillors do on behalf of him, and he's there. Questions are answered whenever they need to be answered.
I mean, Jason, what would you say to people who couldn't find Clacton on a map and who sneer at Clacton for electing the likes of Nigel Farage? And let's face it, if there is another by-election, he will get back in again. What do you say about the people that look, the people in Westminster, the Westminster bubble, who look down their nose at places like Clacton?
That's very sad, because I think our seaside industry, especially this year of all years, where it's a lot more difficult to go on holiday, these should be our fundamental places where people are coming to visit. They can spend the money, we can build the economy. To sneer at places like this is really horrible. We've got a lovely, beautiful seaside town. Nigel's advocated that with 5 miles of beach all the way down to Holland-on-Sea. We've got fantastic pier, the award-winning pier across the road, amazing restaurants, amazing nightlife, and just a lovely community. So to dismiss it from Westminster, it means that they're not in touch with the real world as we are at the moment. All we want is help, and all we've seen is Prime Minister change after Prime Minister change, smear campaigns. Let's get rid of this one, let's try this one. All Nigel's trying to do, as we feel, is just trying to make the UK a better place. And why are we not giving that a chance?
Yeah, Jason, I don't need to really ask you this question. So are you going to vote for Binface or Nigel?
100,000% Nigel all the way. Yeah, Nigel's got our vote. For everyone here, and I speak for a lot of Clacton, we're all big fans of Nigel.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us. That's Jason Smedley there, who is a business owner in Clacton. And full disclosure here, I spent many, many very happy childhood holidays in Jaywick and Clacton. And people do
come and see us here at the restaurant.
OK, let's come to you first, Steph, on a response. That's someone in Clacton running a business, very happy with the MP.
Well, I don't doubt his testimony. I represent a coastal constituency, and I think he's absolutely right that we should be promoting our seaside resorts. North Norfolk is going to have a fantastic summer, and we should be supporting our businesses to make the most of the opportunity. I guess my question isn't whether Nigel Farage is or isn't popular in Clacton. It's why is he doing this? How does this help solve the problems the country is facing? And how is this actually going to help Jason's business? I don't see that a descent into Clacton by the world's media to focus on this vanity project is going to help his business at all.
So can I just ask you one question? Now, we obviously heard before we listened to the people of Clacton, Sir Ed Davey, your boss, saying that Farage has spent a life dodging responsibility. Now, this is a man who refused to talk to victims of the post office scandal. When it comes to dodging responsibility, that's a pretty good example of it.
Well, I stand by our leader and the fact that he was the first to call for other parties to not take part in this vanity by-election. I think that was the right call.
Yeah, but he knows a lot about dodging responsibility as well, to be fair.
I think Ed has very much stood up to the responsibility and what happened at the time in that. I think one of the challenges that Farage is facing... He refused to talk to people that were victims of that.
He didn't want to talk to them.
Well,
he was in charge.
I have, and many of them live in my constituency. I think what Nigel is facing, and I don't think this is an unfair thing to say, is that when you're on the outside of politics commenting and having major influence over it, the rules that we sign up to don't apply. because you remember the public. When you're actually elected, you sign up to the rules, and the rules are very, very clear. Now, you might not like the fact that that system is presided over by MPs or a standards commissioner, but that system was created by MPs, and it can be changed by MPs. But you can't just ignore it or sidestep it or quash it or pretend that the voters in Clacton have got more national jurisdiction over whether he did or didn't follow the rules than the current process is. Let's change the process. Let's change politics.
Well,
but
I mean,
you have to work with what you start with, and remember that these systems are built by people, and they can be changed by them as well.
Well, all of this sort of like people deciding who's doing what. I mean, Makerfield, for example. Jake,
well, I'd say the same about Makerfield. Frankly, I think it's ridiculous.
We are going to talk to someone from Labour very soon. Jake, you wanted to say something just then.
Well, you know, I think the truth is that this is a campaign to get Nigel Farage. You know, he had a choice. He could have just sat back and wait for them to come for him. And believe you me, they're coming for him. They know they can't beat him at the ballot box. They try and cancel elections. They fix the funding rules. They are coming for him. He's tackled them head on. And I just think that is what our country needs. And I think day after tomorrow is a year to a day since I joined Reform. I joined Reform because I believe in Nigel Farage. This country is in the last chance saloon. We need a leader who is tough, who will make the big decisions, who will stand up for Britain. And this huge decision he's made today demonstrates that he has all of those qualities that this country needs.
OK, just get a quick word from you, Joy.
What does it demonstrate? It's his choice. David Davis did the same thing. There's precedent. None of their other parties stood against David Davis. What is he doing other than fulfilling his own ego? If he's innocent, then he'll stand in the standards investigation whatever way, and they can make their judgment then. Well, I don't understand. What is the point of this other than indulging his ego for the summer and making him headline news for the whole summer? It will definitely get him on the front page of the papers, but what else, what purpose is it serving?
Do you know how absurd it sounds to people out there? To have people go, oh, you know, Parliament must decide, Parliament must decide. Let democracy decide. You know, we are a democratic country. Nigel he's put his case out there. He says he's done nothing wrong. I believe he's done nothing wrong. Keep talking about the rules. They don't cover personal gifts. This was not a donation to a political party, as you said earlier.
He's not the first MP to cause a fight. David Davis did the exact same thing.
Why do all these political parties who claim to love democracy and work in the overall parliament, why are they so scared of the voters?
Unfortunately, we've run out of time in this section, but we are coming back on the same subject. And this is what my worry is at the moment, people out there. I don't know if you agree with me. It's democracy in this country. We had Makerfield. I mean, that's not democracy. I mean, 25,000 people have elected our next Prime Minister. We are talking to someone from Labour. But it just makes you... It has me. I don't know about you. It makes you lose your faith, sorry, people, in all politicians from whatever party they are from. And it goes, don't move a muscle. We'll see you very soon.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Pretty much wall-to-wall strong sunshine across the Mediterranean for this week. Very hot too in Spain and Portugal. That heat slowly easing. Pretty warm too in the Canaries. Light winds, lots of blue sky for Spain, Portugal, for Mallorca as well, and most of Italy. Small chance of 1 or 2 showers across the east. The odd shower inland across Greece as well. But most of the Greek islands dry and sunny. Plenty more blue sky to come through the rest of this week. Temperatures easing a touch in Spain.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Tomorrow, another hot and sunny day across the south as the heat wave continues, and the heat is spreading north. The sun is very strong. UV levels going to be very high tomorrow. Pollen will be high in places also. Been a bit of rain around today in western Scotland. Still some outbreaks of rain going here. Quite cloudy and on the coolish side across much of northern Britain compared to the heat across the south. As we go through the night, that cloud will continue to break up more across northeast England and eastern Scotland. Largely clear skies across the south, and the heat sticking, particularly in the southeast. In London, we may not dip below 18 or 19 Celsius. On to Wednesday, and again, another hot sunny day across the south. Again, like today, some of the coast could be a little bit misty at times. May see some mist and low cloud coming into eastern coast, for example, but basically hot and sunny from the word go across the south. Further north, still a fair bit of cloud to begin with for Northern Ireland, northwest England, certainly in western Scotland, where the cloud will be thick enough for a little bit of showery rain to come and go, particularly through the morning, but should see some sunny spells in the east of Scotland. A brighter day here, and for northeast England, I think a brighter day compared to today as well. Gradually, the cloud will break up a little more for Northern Ireland, south of Scotland, northwest England as well, which will lead to higher temperatures here. Always keeping thicker cloud in the far northwest of Scotland, but overall, a dry day, and as I said, that heat wafting northwards, so temperatures a little bit higher in Scotland, Northern Ireland and Northern England, and again in the south we will see those values into the low 30s, 33, 34 is just about possible. Thursday, well, it's a very similar day. Again, a bit more cloud in western Scotland, perhaps for Northern Ireland, the odd shower across the Outer Hebrides, but most places dry, many places seeing plenty of hazy sunshine and, if anything, a little bit hotter with temperatures more widely into the mid or high 20s across the north, and in the south again, potentially into the mid 30s in places.
Thank you, Britain, for all of you who listen to GB News Radio.
Whether you're at home or on the go, you're making us Britain's news channel and Britain's radio station.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from GBnews.com. The M1 southbound between junctions 40 and 39 near Wakefield is delayed due to a collision. The M60 anti-clockwise is closed between junctions 24 and 23 near Stockport. The A6 and 10 eastbound is closed after the M1 junction 26 near Nottingham. The A45 eastbound is closed after the A4114 in Solihull. Across Wales, the A55 westbound is closed between junction 20 at Brompton Avenue and junction 19 at Glan Conwy following an accident. And on the trains, there is major disruption between Bournemouth and Brockenhurst affecting cross-country and southwestern railway services. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Hello, welcome back. This is Dewbs & Co with me, Dawn Neeson. For those of you asking where Michelle is back tomorrow. She spent time with the little boy today. Any case, keeping me company tonight, as well as you, is Reform UK member Sir Jake Berry, Conservative MP Joy Morrissey and Lib Dem MP Steph Ackroyd. OK, now, as you have been hearing, Nigel Farage has resigned as MP, causing a by-election in Clacton. So Keir Starmer reacted this afternoon. He didn't mince his words either.
This is a desperate stunt from Nigel Farage. And it's obvious why he's doing it. He is up to his neck in sleaze. Politics should be about improving the lives of millions of people, not about personal gain, not about hiding dodgy donations. And I think the public will see this for exactly what it is.
I'm going to come to you first on this one, Joy, because you're a woman. And now, up to his neck in sleaze, says a man that thought Peter Mandelson was good to represent this country in America.
And he was called in for all kinds of scandal on things that he bought, on donations, on all of these things. And he's been brought down. He's only been the Prime Minister for how long? I've lost track. And now we have the King of the North coming in with his self-appointed Prime Minister with his own by-election, telling us the people want change. The people don't want here's what the change they want. They want less immigration. They want lower taxes, and they want to defend the realm. Can we stop having an egomaniac festival and get down to actually governing and listening to the people?
OK, right. Let's talk to somebody who can actually defend Labour. Well, hopefully. Former Labour Special Advisor Paul Richards. Paul Richards, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, Keir Starmer, MP, current Prime Minister for how long, has said that, you know, Nigel Farage is up to his neck in sleaze, but this is a man who gave Peter Mandelson a job, who gives up to his neck in sleaze a whole new meaning.
Well, he was criticised for taking some free glasses, wasn't he? I mean, that puts into perspective a £3 million bung, plus all that money from flogging bullion, plus this stuff from Posh George that we're hearing about. And now the utter farce of a by-election where no one's going to turn up. I mean, do you remember that old slogan, what if they had a war and nobody came? You know, he's picked a fight in an empty room. And so we're going to go through the farce of a by-election, which, as you yourself said, Dawn, he will get re-elected anyway. And the people have... Well, possibly the bin, but I suspect Nigel, and no one else is bothering to play. It's just a farce, really. So he began the day with a big announcement, but the whole thing's just fizzled it out by tea time.
Yeah, but I mean, all the reaction from all political parties has been basically, you know, it's a hissy fit, it's an ego trip, he's a sleazy grifter, and Keir Starmer saying his words, Nigel Farage is up to his neck in sleaze. I mean, defend the Labour Party on your record of sleaze. I mean, not Peter Mandelson, for one.
Well, Peter Mandelson lost his rather important job. Other cabinet ministers who got into trouble lost their jobs. Other people resigned because of the allegations against them. And what Nigel Farage has done is decided to double down, claim a conspiracy, call everybody else some sort of establishment, say there's a plot against him, and to trigger this ridiculous farce of a by-election. If I was somebody in Clacton, I would just...
Paul, sorry to interrupt, but when we come to ridiculous farces of by-election, can I mention Makerfield to you?
Well, that's delivering us a man who's about to take over the country and change it. I mean, that's a rather remarkable political... Well, it is in the sense that he's going to be the Prime Minister chosen by Parliament, which is our democracy. So
chosen by half of the people on the outskirts of Manchester.
Well, the way our constitution works, as you well know, whoever has command of the majority in the House of Commons gets to be the PM once the Charles has decreed so. And that's the system we have for our Prime Ministers. And so he'll be taking over in 2 weeks' time. At the same time, with Nigel is going to be, well, presumably getting his map out and trying to find out where Clacton actually is. And once he gets there, he'll be trying to explain to people he's the only candidate. I mean, it's just an absolute nonsense.
Well, we've spoken to the good people of Clacton. They seem very, very happy with their MP.
So why exactly? He's already elected, so why do they have to go through the farce twice? I mean, you know, I think it'll be interesting to see what turnout is on a serious point, because I think if I lived there, I'd be despairing. And when David Davis tried this before, then, you know, the people in his constituency were not particularly well pleased with the performative nature of it. And I think the people in Clacton will re-elect their MP, because they did that 2 years ago. But I just think it's a complete waste of time. I'm pleased to see Reform are going to stump up the money, so at least the taxpayer is not paying. But as Joy Morrissey pointed out, where did that money come from in the first place?
Maybe Andy Burnham should. Maybe Andy Burnham should pay the money for the by-election in Greater Manchester that he's just caused, if you think it's such a great idea. Is he going to be writing a cheque for several £1 million to Greater Manchester Combined Authority? He claims to love Manchester. Why would he want to deprive people in Manchester the cost of the by-election?
Well, maybe it's because he hasn't got multi-million-pound people bunging him buns. That's why.
There's plenty of millions coming into the Labour Party. We know where all your money comes from.
Not personal gifts. Not personal gifts, Jake.
Hold on, yeah. Can we just mention Lord Ali in all of this as well?
Well, a few free glasses and some frocks is not quite the same, is it, as a multi-million-pound bun?
Lovely house in Covent Garden that they were allowed to use at the drop of a hat.
Well, that's his house. I mean, I don't think you know to complain about that. And I think the other thing about taking on
number 10.
I think part of this, though, is distraction, because I think Gabriel Pogrund and the Insight team at the Sunday Times have got a lot more of this to come, and I think Nigel suspects that, which is why he's laying down smoke and trying to sort of divert our attention away with this by-election. But the fact is, it's not worked. It's a damp squib. By tea time, it's over, and now we've got weeks and weeks of nonsense to go through before he's re-elected, a result that everyone knows is coming.
Paul, thank you so much for coming on, gallantly defending the Labour side of the things. But weeks and weeks of nonsense, I would add years and years of nonsense, the way politics are going at the moment. That's former Labour Special Advisor Paul Richards there. Please do let me know what you think. gbnews.com/your say. I appreciate I've no time to read as many out as I should do, but I will in the last section. OK, coming up, Kemi Badenoch has called the resignation a gimmick, and she thinks Nigel Farage has thrown a hissy fit. Love that turn of phrase. Don't want to miss that. See you soon.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
You've been to see Glengarry Glen Ross.
I have. So the movie was 92 and the play was 84, 85, something like David Mamet. It's all about men, or it's about men that are posturing being men. It's this idea of sort of toxic strutting, peacocking. However, the outrage, this most male of plays, has been cast with all women. Horrific. Taking away men's jobs right in front of us, Michael. It's on at the Old Vic, and we've got a cast of the ladies having a little word about it.
I think it might explode the play and open it up in really amazing ways, but we just don't know, and that is thrilling.
On first glance, you look at Glengarry and you think male, masculine world, male toxicity, but then if you strip that away and look at it from another lens, you say, no, this is about humans.
GB News, the People's Channel. Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Joining me now is Chef Julia Walsh, who's the head of patisserie at Le Cordon Bleu.
Thank you.
How lovely to see you. You look marvellous in your chef's hat and your chef's jacket. Tell me about Le Cordon Bleu.
Le Cordon Bleu has been in operation for over 130 years. We had our 130-year anniversary last year. I'm from the campus in London, in Holborn, and we have a very wide-ranging curriculum with our students. I teach patisserie, so for me, I teach students to learn about things such as bakery, cakes, entremets, such as this one here, and showpieces. We do chocolate and sugar sculptures as well.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
3 lines on my shirt, never stop me dreaming.
Could this be England's biggest superfan? Benny Elcock has covered his York home in St George's flags in support of England ahead of the World Cup. 3 Lions memorabilia are draped across his windows, garden gates and flower pots. Even the family's Yorkshire Terrier Reggie has his own outfit.
We've done it for years. And I'll just stick my Everton one up, because I'm a massive Everton fan. People just think I'm mad. Say, well, you've gone a bit mad, you've gone a bit overboard. I said, I don't care. I love it.
Football mad Benny can't wait for England's first match.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hello, welcome back to Dewbs & Co. With me, Dawn Neeson. A Reform leader, Nigel Farage, has announced that he will resign as Member of Parliament for Clacton, triggering that by-election that he will stand in. Now, we have still got the same panel with us, and we are running out of time, but I just want to read a few messages out quickly. Paulie Wally from Dorset, interesting name, says, at least Mr Farage remember who his bosses are, us, the people, and we keep forgetting that we pay their wages, remember, they're meant to be working for us. Michelle says, 100% true, Dawn. Where is the democracy in this country? And Gareth makes an interesting point. Maybe Nigel is doing this to stop the media and the blob harassing his family. Now, Steph, you spoke earlier on about the pressure MPs are under, the death threats that you have had, and you're, no, as I said, no disrespect, but you're not up there with Nigel Farage. Now, he gets death threats every single day. His defence is he needs this £5 million that is the subject of this inquiry for his own protection.
Well, I am in a different circumstance to Nigel, but I've been very comforted and reassured by the protection that MPs are offered. I think this is partly about how we move forwards and rebuild the country. I think we need to have a conversation with people that don't agree with us. You know, GB News is not my natural territory as a Lib Dem. I like coming on here because I don't want to exist in my bubble. I want to talk about things. I want to discuss things with people who I disagree with about.
Absolutely good for you.
And I think that's how we need to move forwards as a country. I don't think, and I would say this gently to people who are supportive of Nigel Farage, you can be supportive of Nigel Farage, but you can still challenge and question whether calling this by-election, given the chances that there's going to be another one in just a few weeks' time, is really a good use of anyone's time and attention. How is that helping to move us forward? How is that helping to resolve any of the questions about what we need to do to get Britain back on its feet again?
Jay, you can answer that.
I think the first thing is Nigel's security. One of the most shocking things he said today is that Parliament cut 70% plus of his budget the few days after Charlie Kirk was murdered in the United States. If that isn't the establishment out to get this man, I don't know what is. And look, on the by-election, you know, we've got these political parties clutching their pearls, praying for this committee in Parliament to try and kick Nigel out. You've got your chance. Take him on. Your leader said he was a sleazy grifter. If he really believes that, take him on. Beat him. Kemi said various comments about him, which he played at the top of the show. She believes they're true. Take him on. They won't. And for mainstream political parties to say, let's a sleazy parliamentary committee that no one's ever heard of in the shadows do our dirty work for him because we won't take him on the election. That is disrespecting the British voters, and what we've seen from Nigel today is bravery. And he said, take me on. and everyone's left the field of play. I wonder why.
There's much that I agree with you about, there's much that I disagree with you about, but how is this going to help the country? Because hasn't he just made this all about him? Rightly or wrongly, whether he's innocent or not,
corruption that we have in Parliament,
circumstance of British politics all about him and his ego.
This corruption we have in Parliament has to come to an end. The British people are absolutely, GB News viewers and listeners, are absolutely fed up with the political establishment.
But what could be more corrupt than having money coming in from overseas donors in cryptocurrency, clearly doing the bidding of a major political force?
Well, I think you've got to be quite careful what you say. It was a personal gift, and it was, as we learned today, because 70% of his funding to keep him safe had been stripped away by the establishment. They can't beat him at the ballot box. They try and beat him in the courts. They try and beat him by stacking the pack in their favour. And I'm sorry to say, if you look at that funding, it seems to me that there's parts of the establishment that would like to see something bad happen to Nigel.
Quickly, unfortunately, Joy,
the country is facing genuine challenges right now, and they need people to stand up and be leaders. Why is he shirking his responsibility? If he wants to be Prime Minister, why isn't he standing up? Kemi is there offering tough, hard decisions. She's standing up. She's making those tough decisions. She's saying she wants to be leader. She's taking the criticism. He should do the same. No one understands being hounded out by the establishment more than I do watching Boris be hounded out. I was right there with him. I understand that full well, but it doesn't mean you shirk away from the challenge. You don't turn it into an egomaniac summer. You stand up for what you believe, and you stand up and you know you're right, and so you
stand up by not standing at elections.
Well, it's not unfortunate. We have run out of time. Just want to leave the last word to Mike, who says our national politicians once again proven how disconnected they are from the real world and out of touch they are. OK, I've been Dawn Neeson with Michelle. Don't go too far there. I think it's Martin Daubney up next again.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Tomorrow, another hot and sunny day across the south as the heat wave continues, and the heat is spreading north. The sun is very strong. UV levels going to be very high tomorrow. Pollen will be high in places also. Been a bit of rain around today in western Scotland. Still some outbreaks of rain going here. Quite cloudy and on the coolish side across much of northern Britain compared to the heat across the south. As we go through the night, that cloud will continue to break up more across northeast England and eastern Scotland. Largely clear skies across the south, and the heat sticking, particularly in the southeast. In London, we may not dip below 18 or 19 Celsius. On to Wednesday, and again, another hot sunny day across the south. Again, like today, some of the coast could be a little bit misty at times. May see some mist and low cloud coming into eastern coast, for example, but basically hot and sunny from the word go across the south. Further north, still a fair bit of cloud to begin with for Northern Ireland, northwest England, certainly in western Scotland, where the cloud will be thick enough for a little bit of showery rain to come and go, particularly through the morning, but should see some sunny spells in the east of Scotland. A brighter day here, and for northeast England, I think a brighter day compared to today as well. Gradually, the cloud will break up a little more for Northern Ireland, southwest Scotland, northwest England as well, which will lead to higher temperatures here. Always keeping thicker cloud in the far northwest of Scotland, but overall, a dry day. And as I said, that heat wafting northwards, so temperatures a little bit higher in Scotland, Northern Ireland and northern England, and again in the south, we will see those values into the low 30s, 33, 34 is just about possible. Thursday, well, it's a very similar day. Again, a bit more cloud in western Scotland, perhaps for Northern Ireland, the odd shower across the Outer Hebrides, but most places dry, many places seeing plenty of hazy sunshine and, if anything, a little bit hotter with temperatures more widely into the mid or high 20s across the north, and in the south again, potentially into the mid 30s in places.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good evening. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. There is a collision on the M25 clockwise near Epping, causing slow traffic. The M1 southbound between junction 40 at and junction 39 near Wakefield is affected by a collision. Across Wales, the A55 westbound is closed between junction 20 at Brompton Avenue and junction 19 at Glan Conwy following an accident. In Scotland, the A75 eastbound exit slip at Gretna is closed due to roadworks. And on the trains,